Hey everybody, it's Amanda. It is May 2021. It's time for the Q&A for this month. And for the first time in the history of all Q&As, there are no questions under my Q&A post. So either something weird happened and nobody saw it, everybody's just really busy, which I can understand because I'm feeling it, or there's something else that's meant to come through for this month. And I did get a little ping that we're going to be talking about telepathy. I don't know if that's a ping from my subconscious because I think telepathy is cool and I want to talk about it, or it's some kind of message that I need to share because it'll be beneficial to everybody, or both. So I am going to go connect in, and feel free to take the time and connect in yourselves. Get in a receptive state so that whatever message comes through, you can integrate it easily. And I'm going to go do that. So take a couple deep breaths, pause if you need to, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the first thing they want to talk about is what telepathy is not. And they're saying telepathy is not words, or at least not words alone. And telepathy is not reading somebody's mind against their will. It's not somebody understanding your thoughts and feelings without your permission. It's not about that. Part of that is because the level of culture or the level of evolution in which telepathy happens, you don't have secrets because you're more at a place of understanding each person's experience contributes to the whole, no matter what that experience is. Either for understanding or in participation, which I assume means, if you want to teach about something, or you have an idea for how a system would work better, whether it's a physical system or a conceptual system. And at that level, your intention is towards the good of the whole. So, for instance, if you understood from somebody else's mind or someone else's telepathic exchange that, give me an example. All right, here's a weird, dumb kind of example, but if you understood that they had killed a chicken, and they felt really guilty for that, then you would understand that their experience led them to an evolution of thought, which is going to contribute to the whole. So, I'm trying to get the slide up to, from here where we don't understand all that, to up here where we do understand all that. So basically, I guess all I can say is when you're up at this point where you are telepathic, you understand people's intentions and you understand their feelings behind things. So if somebody told you telepathically, I don't like your hat, you wouldn't take it personally because you would know that in their mind, they don't like your hat because they're worried it's not going to protect you from the rain. and they're, you know, they're wanting you to have something that keeps you dry and makes you more comfortable. You know, whereas today, if somebody says, I don't like your hat, you're like, well, screw you. I don't like your face, you know, like whatever. Something like that. Not that you would do that, but, you know, some people would. You know, you instantly get defensive because you don't know what's motivating them to say that. And usually people assume something negative based on their programming. And in our culture, it would be like, you don't look good or something and whatever. So, so telepathy from, you know, the point of evolution where we have it, contains an understanding of intention, and that makes it much easier to handle because we don't have, I mean, well, if you're an empath, you can get that, but if you're an empath with a bunch of cultural programs, then you can get that and then misinterpret it anyway. So, another thing to understand about telepathy is even if we had it right now, you could choose not to share. And you just do that with intention. I don't want anybody knowing my thoughts about my childhood, or I don't want anybody knowing my thoughts about that, you know, cute girl or guy at the coffee shop that always flirts with me because they might misinterpret it, and it's just that's a boost to my ego, and I enjoy that. So I don't want anybody to know that because I don't want them to misinterpret it. But again, that's coming from a place where this would be like when we're just learning telepathy, but we don't understand the intention because we still have a bunch of programs, you know, that are going to screw with the meaning behind it. So we've got to learn not just how to connect. Yeah, they're telling me I haven't explained how you connect telepathically. Okay, so all this stuff to say, there's a progression to it. All right, so let's get to that. Let's get to how it works. And my experience with it is there's two experiences. One is you know, the telepathic connection I have to my guides, to the collective who's giving us this information. And that, let's just start with that. So that connection is a frequency where people have explained it where you bring yourself up as high as you can, and they bring themselves to a resonant frequency where you can get as close as you can to understanding. Sometimes it's like this, and they're talking a little above me, and I'm like, well, I'm close. So I kind of get the understanding, but there's still some stuff there I don't get. So if you're really on, if you're really synced up, then it's just like this, and they just, you know, your minds are, or it's not really your mind. You use your mind to process the information so that we can put it in terms that we can live in here. But it's really more like you have a thought about something and they respond instantly. There's no, it doesn't, you don't have, it's not like a phone line where you have to ask the question, the person gets the sound waves, hears it, processes your question, and then sends it back. It's instant. When your thoughts connected, it is, you know what they know, or they know what you know. So if I start to ask a question, I will get as far in my head as what, like, what about blah, what, and then it's there. It's just there. And it can be frustrating for me because then I have to, like, hold the glob of info that I have in my head long enough to say, question, so you guys know what the heck I'm talking about. You guys and girls. I say you guys a lot. Some people get offended at that. I mean, you all. So that's what that level of telepathy is like. It's a syncing up of minds. It's instant. You know, you call it a download or whatever. It's instant transfer of information. It's not, I don't even want to say it's a transfer. It's just, you know it and they know it. It's like you are them, they are you, which is true. So that's what that level is. But from a today telepathy thing, how we experience it, and I'm sure you know this, let's see, there's like an energetic, there's a conscious. Okay, it seems like there's at least 3 different ways. So the first thing that came in, I hadn't even thought of this, but you know when you're sitting at a restaurant and you just get the urge to turn around, and you turn around and you see that somebody's staring at you. Well, that's a kind of telepathy because they were focusing their attention on you and you felt it. Somewhere within you, you knew there's something going on that has to do with me and I need to turn around. Like your instinct is to turn around. And you can guess where that instinct comes from because, you know, if a tiger's watching you, you want to know that, right? That's a gift that you have. You don't want to get eaten. So you better turn around and see that the tiger's got its attention on you. Another kind of, I don't know if that's considered energetic or, you know, I would assume it's energetic. Maybe it's a focus more than an energy. The other one is, you know, when you're in the proximity with somebody over and over again for years or even days, you know, 24/7, you're right in their energy. Your fields are bumping up against each other all the time. You do kind of develop a one mind about that because what's in your field is in their field. So, you know, I always talk about how my husband and I have a shared microculture because we grew up in the same area with the same type of, like, you know, the same type of childhood and the same type of family. Like our dads were both in the Air Force and they're in Arkansas and they're both from the same general area of Pennsylvania. And we grew up in the same general area, like suburbs in the same general area of central Arkansas. And like all the experiences that he had, and we're in the same age, so all the experiences he had growing up, I had growing up. And including like going to visit your relatives in another state in Pennsylvania in the same area. So I think a lot of our being able to answer, you know, each other's sentences and finish each other's sentences has a lot to do with that. But also, there's a lot of things that we do where we have the same thought at the same time now. I mean, it's been 15 years. And we didn't have that in the very beginning. So I do think there's an energetic exchange of knowing and understanding of things. How you see the world exchanges with how they see the world, and you kind of exchange that. So it's a different kind of telepathy. It's not the standard telepathy you think of, like with intention. I want them to know, please don't forget to pick up bread on the way home. Sometimes that works. You'd have to practice it, I think, to get it to work consistently. And then what was the third thing? Emotional telepathy. Like when a mother knows her child is in danger or something bad has happened, or with twins, one of them knows something bad has happened to the other one, or something really good. So they just don't talk about the times that something really good happens. So a strong emotion when you're already quantum entangled, which you are, if you've been in the proximity of somebody's energy repeatedly, you are quantum entangled. And so once those, doesn't matter where you are in the world, somebody goes to the other side of the world and has a really strong emotion, then you might feel that if you're in a receptive mode. If you're really busy and your mind is cluttered, and you might never notice. But that's a different type of telepathy. So what do they want us to know about all this? How do we bring this all together in a useful way? So they're saying you can use it to smooth relationships. If you've got a parent or a grandparent or an aunt or uncle or some kind of negative relationship, and you just like, it just has been conflict, and even though the conflict is resolved, or whether it is or not, you can use emotional telepathy to send them not just the feeling, but you can send them images of you two getting along and having fun and laughing and everything being calm and great. And you can boost it with a feeling. I could just do this, take a minute, take a few deep breaths, and send that image with the feeling behind it to them. And they may not get it consciously, they may just get it subconsciously. So I'm asking, can we use that with our politicians? And they're saying it depends on what you want them to do or feel or be. I would like them to act for the good of all. And I would like them to do it in a way that doesn't look skeevy. I would like them to do it without being dishonest or feeling like they have to hide things. I would like them to, come to an understanding and present it in a beautiful way. So maybe I would imagine all world leaders presenting to their people that they want to help all people. And I want it to be honestly from their hearts. I want all world leaders to be heart-centered people who want the best for everyone, not a certain group or anything like that. All right, so that's my thing. So you could do whatever you want in that way. Is there another way we could use that? So we've improved relationships. We can improve the world. Okay. They're showing me very poverty-stricken areas where we can send images of ourselves and people around us wishing and wanting them to have a better life and to be happy and to be fed. Just visions of the world sending them, like wishing that for them. So if they receive the feeling or snippets of visuals that the whole world is wanting them to have enough, not just enough, but to thrive, that brings their mental state up. brings their vibration up. So telepathy is really like a tool to raise the vibration of the planet or of groups of people. Can be. So what's a good way to practice for in our everyday lives? How to do this, like just like a fun way to ease into it? Like, how do we do that? Okay, when we want our spouse or our significant other to bring a loaf of bread home, you can't send words. You have to send the visual of them picking the bread up off the shelf, checking out, and driving home with it. Or if you think they're not going to stop at the store, you have to send the impulse to stop at the store and then send the vision of them getting bread. And you have to declutter your mind long enough. It'll only take like 10, 20 seconds at the most. But you have to stop, take a deep breath, clear your mind, and send that. And maybe put a feeling of accomplishment behind it is what they're saying. Like, so they feel accomplished that they got the bread. And that will help them understand. That will create an understanding in their mind and their subconscious. And their subconscious doesn't know the difference between whether they are actually doing it or not doing it. So it will create a pattern. Wow, okay. Do not, they're saying, do not use this gift for evil. It will backfire. If you use it for nefarious purposes or against someone's will, it will be used against you, against your will, because not because you did something evil or not because of the bad or negative of it, but because it's just reciprocal. What you give out comes back. So, if you give out telepathy about picking up bread on the way home, you will be able to receive telepathy about picking up something on the way home. And then you just have to practice acting on those impulses and gauging whether you were right or not. Like if you get an impulse that, oh, I should stop and check the mail, or I should stop at the post office, or whatever, get stamps. And you get stamps and you go home and nothing happens to indicate that you should have gotten stamps, then think about how you felt, what you were doing when you got that impulse, and then gauge it against another time when maybe you got that impulse to do something and it was valid. So that's kind of like, that kind of ties into like your higher self intuition, like following the intuition of doing things and then having a benefit, getting a benefit from that. So you have to track your benefits. So I'm asking, what happens if you follow your intuition and none of them turn out to be right? Then what's going on? Then you have to distinguish your creative brain from what's coming from the field, or an energetic. What's an energetic impulse versus what's a 3D brain impulse, a creative impulse. And neither is bad. They're saying creative impulses are great too. But practice, hold the intention for the energetic kind. And if you find that they didn't work out, then restate your intention that you receive energetic type of impulses, either from your higher self or from somebody you're practicing telepathy with, for the benefit of all. And so now they're talking about another type of telepathy is game type telepathy, where you where you say, and this gets complicated because there's a time thing that doesn't exist. So, okay, I'm going to sit and think about 5 different things. And you can make them simple at first, like an apple. And don't pick an apple because I've already said that. And then you sit down at, whatever times you want, and you can write the word down, you can draw a picture, and then you spend a couple minutes just thinking of that object. And then you have another person guess what the object or objects were. And you can set up however many you want to do. Now, the funny part is you can have the person guess and not tell you what their guess is. And then you can sit down over a week and do all 5 of those things and then find out what that person guessed. And they could get them all right because there's no such thing as time. That might complicate things when you're just starting out, though. So maybe you should just like set up a time. Like I'm going to sit down at 12:30 p.m. because that's during my lunch break. And I'm going to think about something at 12:30 p.m. for 2 minutes. And you sit down at 12:30 p.m. my time, sync the times up. And you tap in and see if you can get what I was thinking about. So that would be a good start for telepathy. But eventually you could, move it to like, all right, what am I going to be thinking about for the next 5 days? Write it down, and then I'll do it for the next 5 days, and then we'll see. That would be a good step 2. And then, if you can get past the cultural programming that says it is bad to have any kind of advantage where money's concerned, you could use it, I don't know, maybe for lottery numbers or for predicting whether you should invest in stocks now or 2 months from now. Like when is it going to be in a low so you can buy low and then make a profit or whatever. I don't know, something like that. Or whether you should invest in a particular business or something like that. It's kind of like the precursor to being psychic, really. Telepathy and psychic abilities. Sort of all the same thing, really. It's just your ability to tap into the field. And practicing that and making sure you're not complicating it or distorting it with programs that tell you what's okay and what's not okay. Even the thing where you impose your will, your psychic will on somebody else, the energy isn't judging that, it's just balancing it. So you force somebody to think or do something, they're gonna, somewhere else that energy is gonna come back. And that's not a judgment, that's just a balancing. That's what karma is. It's not like you did something wrong and so now you're gonna be punished. It's like this happened and now this is gonna happen to balance it because, I don't know why it balances. That's just what they told me, so I'm gonna go with that. Okay, let me see if they have anything else to tell us. And then I think I'm just going to call it good. And I think because I had the Q&A at the end of last month, and then I forgot to put up the Q&A, the call for questions for like 5 days. Maybe people just didn't see it. Anyway, but we can do as many as we want in June. We can do 2 or 3 or whatever if we have a lot of questions. So, anything else? Now's a good time to practice gratitude. And notice positive changes. And to constantly reorient yourself to finding benefits rather than conflict. So if we look back over the past year and we joke that it's like a big whole nightmare, We don't joke. I mean, it was a big old nightmare for a lot of people. I mean, including, you know, my brothers who got very sick. Excuse me. And a lot of people were unhappy, but if you're going to, you know, turn it around and see what did that cause? What was that a catalyst for? What kind of systems got really streamlined because they had to? How quickly did we develop solutions for things? Because there was nothing stopping us. And there was everything saying, develop a solution to this right now. Right now. You have to do it right now. Just nothing else is important except this. So now they're saying, where can you do that in your life where you develop a solution for something and think of it in terms of nothing else matters? Find a solution. If you want something to get better, find a solution right now. Nothing else matters. Find a solution. It is possible. Look what we did. Look at all the things we did in the past year. How many years have people been trying to get certain things to happen? My doctor told me that he's been trying to get televisits going in his practice for years. And everybody said, oh, no, it's too hard. It can't happen. Blah, blah, blah. And then what happened? They did it in a week. So what other things do we do? What other things do we learn? There's so many. Think about what happened in your own life. How have your own thoughts and feelings changed? Yeah, there's so much. There's so much. So they want us to focus on gratitude and the positive orientation of benefits versus crisis and all the negative. Like it already, I mean, the negative happened, but it's a catalyst for huge change. And there's no sense in wallowing in. You can feel compassion for all the bad that happened and send love telepathically to all the people who need it, so they know they're supported and we care. We absolutely care. But don't wallow in, oh, this horrible thing happened and I can't believe this horrible thing happened and what's going to happen next, and you know, focusing on the negative of it is just giving energy to more negative that will perpetuate. So focus on what you're grateful for. Focus on the change and the catalysts that anything new, anything, whether it's a negative event or a positive thing, it's a catalyst for change. And that's that's what they would like to see us focus on. Gratitude, positive catalyst for change. That focus will take us farther faster than anything. And I think I'm going to end on that because I think that's great. So, hope you're all doing well, and I hope you guys have lots of great questions for next month. And that's all I can think of. So I will be telepathically sending you all love and support, and I'll talk to you again next month. Bye. Much love. Bye.